Welcome back to another Crafty Like a Fox video. Today I am actually at my mother-in-law's house. We thought that it would be fun to plant up some summer color for her, so we're getting an early start on that. And as a Mother's Day present, we thought it would be fun to give her this lovely black obelisk back here as well. We've got 5 containers that we're going to be putting together, so we've roughly laid them out. We've got a group of 2 over here, 1 in the center by the door, and then another group over here. We're going to be installing drip irrigation in these as well, so that it will be really easy for her to take care of this year and in future years. So I'm excited to see how it all turns out. We just got a couple new planters that don't have any holes in them yet, so I'm going to go ahead and pop some drainage holes in these. Just going to use a regular bit and driver. All right. Doesn't look like it yet. No, it's just not good. Come on. We're going to start setting up the irrigation by using this Orbit timer. It's really easy to program. It runs on batteries, and you can set the time of day that it is now, the time that you want the watering to start, how long you want it to water for in minutes, how frequently you want it to water. We'll go ahead and set that for 2 days right now. You can turn the system off. You can turn the system to auto. And we'll just leave it like that for right now. If there's rain coming and you want to skip watering for a day or 2 days or whatever it is, the next time it's coming up, you can hit the plus sign while it's in auto for rain delay. Or if you want to manually run it to add some additional water, you can hit manual, and that will open it as well. So this is the first step that we're going to attach. The next step that we're going to use is a backflow preventer. So this has a screen in it which will help filter the water that's going into the irrigation tubing to make sure that nothing clogs it, and vice versa. If there's anything that gets into the tubing, it's not going to backflow into your water system. That wasn't going on the other end, so I put the backflow preventer ahead of the timer, which should work just fine. The next step that we have here is a pressure reducer. This is going to reduce the pressure to 25 psi so that we can control exactly what the flow rate is out of each emitter in the tubing. And then the last one that we have is the reducer. So this is going to adapt it down from a normal 3/4 inch hose size to 1/2 inch. And then we're going to be attaching our 1/2 inch tubing to run the water line around to the front of the house where the planters are. So I'm going to go ahead and get this installed now onto the faucet. And you can see we also have a Y splitter here so that we can still attach a regular garden hose on the left side and independently turn each side of the splitter on and off. So we're going to go ahead and trench this around the house. So I'm just going to start clearing out an area just so that we can get it under these rocks. Most of the drip irrigation stuff's all pressure fit, so I'm just going to work this onto the fitting, make sure it's secure. That should be nice and tight, and then we'll just get this laid down, ensure that we don't have any kinks in it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is cut this 1/2 inch hose to length, and then I'm going to essentially kink it. So now that we have the kink in the end of the hose to stop water from coming through, I'm going to punch a hole with this tool into the hose and add this injection plug. And now we can add our 1/4 inch tubing that's solid. So again, no holes in any of this, just running it to where we need the water. Okay, so now I've got that wrangled on there. So now we've got this stem of water coming off of our water supply. Now we will bury that in the rocks over to where we need it. So we've started burying the 1/4 inch tubing, and everywhere that we want to add a 1/4 inch line to go to a container, I'm going to put a T into the main line. So I'm just going to cut this and make sure I look. One of these is just a plug. So I'm going to connect that there. And then to the right side as well to continue on. And then we'll have the 3rd leg of the T available to go into the pot. And we have 2 containers here fairly near each other. So I'm going to go ahead and put another one in. All right, so off of the 2nd tee here, I'm going to add the next piece of hose to continue running down the line. All right, so I'm going to start by running a length of drain tube up through my planter. Then I'm going to take the bottom of it and connect it to the T that I put in the main 1/4 inch line. And we can just hide that in the gravel. So we'll continue doing that with the rest of the pots. So this is the pre-soil drip situation. We've got the tube coming up through one of the drain holes in each of the containers. And then back here, when the tubes come out, they connect to the main line that's feeding the water. And we'll go ahead and get those buried under the gravel so that they're hidden. And from the front, you won't be able to see anything. Okay, so this container is a little bit different because the bottom of it doesn't have any access or ridges to run the tubing through. So we had this plate from another planter that we're gonna go ahead and set it up on. And so what I think I'm gonna do is see if I can run tubing through one of these holes between the feet and then run it up through one of the drain holes. This drain hole's a little snug, but thankfully I've got 4 more over here, so I'm not too worried about it. If there was only a couple drain holes, I would probably use the drill to make those holes a little bit larger. Plenty of length there. Inspect here. So this is the main line coming to feed water, and we're gonna have to run it up and over this patio. So I'm probably gonna bring it here and go ahead and put a T in. Cameraman, would you mind handing me that? Thank you. All right, so then I'm gonna connect this to the pointy side of the T. And I'm gonna add on the next piece that's gonna extend over the patio to the other side. Oh, helps if I use the right connection point. over to the other side of the front door to our other container group. So for the last one off this tee, I'm gonna actually just run this piece of drip tubing right through the last planter. All right, so all that'll be ready to be buried after we get everything planted up. I filled the pots most of the way with soil, left a little room for adding the plants in, but I'm gonna go ahead and add a starter fertilizer to it. I'm just gonna sprinkle it on. This one recommends using about 1.5 cups per cubic foot of growing mix. There's a little over cubic foot in here, so just gave it a couple good handfuls. I'm gonna try to get it worked down into the first 5 or 6 inches of soil just to help the roots get going, help the plant get some nice blooms coming. And I've already done that with the rest of them. We've got soil in them, so now we're ready to plant them up. Okay. So for this planter, I am going to start with the Proven Winners Graceful Grasses Fireworks. Grows 24 to 30 inches tall. It should put on a lot of nice color throughout the season as well. So I'm gonna start by getting the nursery can off. Roots look really good. I'm just gonna go ahead and make space for it in the back of the container here. And fill in all around the roots. Make sure there aren't any air gaps in there. All right. And then the next plant I'm going to add is the Supertunia Limoncello, which is a beautiful pale yellow color. It's kind of got a little bit darker yellow throat. And I'm going to pop 2 of these in towards the front on either side. Let them fill in and spill over. All right, and then in the very front here, I am going to add a sweet potato vine. This one is Blackie sweet potato vine. It's a very dark purple with really deep lobes in the leaves. They're beautiful kind of shape to them. That one all positioned to start spilling over the front. So I think that looks good. I've got a couple inches here between the top of the container and the soil to hold on to the water so that it's not going to spill soil over the top. So I think that looks pretty good. I've cut a length of 1/4 inch strip tubing that has emitters every 6 inches on it. And I'm just going to make a loop here in the container. I'll make sure I've got it near all the root balls. It should fill the container well. So I'm going to trim the supply tubing that we've got coming up through the soil, add a T into it, and then on either side of the T I'll work the emitter tubing to make a loop. All right, and then I might just add a couple staples to kind of secure it so it doesn't move around. And then if you want to, you can cover this with soil or mulch, but these plants are going to fill this container fairly quickly, so it won't be visible for very long. So we'll go ahead and continue doing this with the rest of the containers. In this container, I'm going to start with the Angelface Blue Angelonia. I'm going to put it towards the back side here. And then next to it, I'm going to use the Color Blaze Lime Thyme Coleus. I'm going to raise these up a bit. I'm going to have to add a little bit more soil to this planter, I think, by the time I'm done. Next, I'm going to add Supertunia Bordeaux. I have 2 of these, so I'm going to put one on the right side and then one over towards the left side. And then I have 2 sweet potato vines here. This one looked a little shy, so I thought I'd get a second one just in case it doesn't want to take off. I'm just gonna make sure that there's plenty of soil around each root ball. All right, so that looks pretty good. And again, these are going to grow taller in the back, and these will kind of fill in and spill over the front and sides. In this planter, we're going to add a trellis. So I'm going to begin by adding this lemon appeal black-eyed Susan vine, and it's going to grow up inside of the trellis. Just going to loosely place that in there. It will vine all on its own. It doesn't really need any attachment points. Then on this side, I'm going to add a Supertunia Royal Velvet for a nice bright pop of dark purple. I'm going to add another one on this side as well. And then in the front, I'm going to add a little lemon coral sedum to just kind of break the petunias up and spill over the front. Something a little bit different than the sweet potato vines we're using elsewhere, but still kind of in that same lime green color family. And that's it for this one. On to the next one. In the back of this container, I'm going to start with a couple Superbena Stormbursts. These are a variety of verbena. It was a variety of verbena until I got my hands on it. And then on the left and right side, I'm going to add some more of the Limoncello Supertunias. And then finally in the front, I'm going to add another Supertunia Bordeaux. This last container is going to be mirror of one of the first containers we did. So I'm going to start with an Angelface Blue Angelonia. I'm going to put it here on the outside edge in the back. And then next to it, I'm going to use one of the Lime Time Coleus. Next, I'm going to add two Supertunia Bordeaux. And then finally in the front, I'm going to finish up with the Sweet Caroline Sweet Potato Vine. Here are the containers all planted up. We still need to do a little cleanup, but they're looking really good so far. We've got the drip going. You can see the drip tubing in there. And then let's take a look over here on the other side of the door. So this evening we were able to get all 5 containers set up with drip irrigation, filled with soil and fertilizer, and planted up. And I think that they will do lovely here. Thanks for watching.
Action. Action. Sha-sha-sha.
Alright. I gotta stop beginning everything I say with alright.
Okay, so.
Okay, so. Here is the planter. Cool. Chilling. Bang, that is a sweet planter, you might say. Wrong.